All right, guys, I wanted to comment on the assassination of Charlie Kirk yesterday. Um, what I thought happened was actually confirmed by a mortician who observed what happened to him. There's something called decorticate. I was an EMT. I want to say decerebrate is when you have a brain injury and your arms extend away from your body. Decorticate is when your arms bend in towards the core of your body and your hands are usually balled up. And when Charlie was hit, which the mortician agrees that that is a professional hit, that is not a lucky shot. Okay, that's a professional hit. Um, the instant the bullet went through his neck, on the left side of his neck. It severed his artery. I don't know if you remember this, but I said that when I saw the actual footage of him losing his life. He lost his life instantly, and I knew he was gone. I just knew. Uh, so it was nice to have what I thought be confirmed by a mortician. Um, because obviously that's where your carotid artery is located. There is no exit bullet, which means that it could have easily went up into his brain in addition to going through his neck. Um, so the decorticate positioning of his posturing of his arms, both his arms, flew into his body, and he was basically done. I don't give a shit what the news said. I don't care what the media tells you. They're liars any freaking way. He died instantly. So the good thing about that is he didn't know, literally didn't know what hit him. His brain had no time to acknowledge that you know what I mean? Like what happened. He just didn't have time. They claimed he didn't die for hours. That's a load of bullshit. I noticed that he was, like I said, the posturing alone told me that's indicative of a serious brain or spinal cord injury. Also, a few doctors online, a few surgeons online confirmed that, in addition to the mortician, confirmed that also. He was dead immediately. So I guess if there's mm, anything good about that, he didn't have time to suffer. Did not have time to suffer at all. Um, my heart breaks for him. And I've already had to tell off a couple of people online who had the nerve, the audacity to throw their opinion in the middle of that. Well, I didn't really care that much for everything he said, or I'm not really a fan of him, but he shouldn't have been murdered. Shouldn't have been. And I said, for all of you, you know me, I'm going to keep it real. I said, for all of you that are making this an opportunity to shove your political beliefs smack dab in the middle of this, that is inappropriate. Shut the fuck up. This is not the time nor the place. That's like going to someone's funeral and saying to everybody, well, I didn't really like the guy, but you want to get hit? Do you want to get hit hard? Because that's what's going to happen to you, or you're going to get picked up like a suitcase and thrown out the door like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Nobody asked for your opinion. Nobody asked what political side you were on. Nobody gives a flying fuck about your fucking opinion. That is 1000% inappropriate. Nobody gives a rat's ass about your opinion. It ain't about you. Okay? It ain't about you. Disgusting, inappropriate, classless. That shows absolutely no class. The man lost his life. He was only 31, okay? Erica, his wife, did a speech and thanked everybody who has always, you know, supported him, has always been on his side. And it's just a really beautiful thing that she was able to. She struggled to speak, but I saw part of it. It was kind of long, so I didn't watch the whole thing. But she thanked everybody and she talked about him. And she was just really grateful for all the people who have been by his side. And I don't know if any of you have been through this, but I I've been in a position where I cried for someone I didn't know. I cried when I found out about Charlie. I cried about a guy named Dave. He was a veterinarian. I didn't know him from a can of paint. Did not know the man. However, however, uh, I was good when I watched. There was this incident that happened, and Dave was the name of the guy, and he was in California, and they were swimming in the ocean because him and his friends were going to be part of I want to say they were going to be part of a triathlon, and Dave got hit by a shark. And what the shark will do, because you're wearing black, a lot of times they mistake you for a seal. All right. So they go directly up under you and I guess they hit you real hard to stun you, I guess. I'm not a shark. I'm guessing that's what they do. They hit you it would feel like a freight train, I'm pretty sure. Well, he went airborne. When he went airborne, he yelled, "Shark!" because he wanted to tell everybody. He wanted to warn them. Well, his leg had a severe injury to it, and his friends did not care. They swooped in there and grabbed him and got him up out of there. So they're basically risking their lives also. And he bled out, and there was nothing that could be done. And I was watching the video. It was on YouTube like years and years and years ago. And I was watching it, and I was cool. Sad, but I kept it together. Until his friends showed an aerial shot where they had written in the sand, "Good night, Dave." Okay, that was it. I was done. I bawled and bawled and bawled and bawled. I don't know this man from a can of paint, but the love that his friends had for him, wow, that got me hard. That hit me real hard. Wow. You don't really have to, if you have empathy, okay? And you have the ability to love someone other than yourself, you can be severely impacted or hurt by someone else's death. You know, yeah, that's all it took. Good night, Dave. Oh God, that was it. I was just bawling and bawling and bawling. I had never met the man. I don't know him. I learned about him afterwards. I read the article. They said he was a veterinarian. They did run to get help, but it was too late and that kind of thing. Um, and I'm going to say this too. I'm going to go there because I don't care. This world has turned so dark and so ugly that I feel for people who actually love God, like Charlie did. They get, if they, excuse me, if they lose their life, in a way, I feel like they get to escape because the world we live in is just dark, gloomy, filled with hatred. And people are committing horrific acts of violence. And for people who don't survive, they eventually pass and go to heaven, okay? I think they're lucky because they get to escape the darkness and the hate and the horrible behavior that people are capable of now. The world is unrecognizable, and you guys know what kind of childhood I had. It sucked. But there was so much that we had when we were little. We didn't have to worry about the crap we have to worry about now. We don't have to worry about the extreme of things. Like we could go out and play until dark and we didn't have to worry about, child trafficking, and we didn't have to worry about. I'm not saying kids weren't kidnapped or hurt, of course, but the crime now, the crimes that are happening now are being rewarded by the court system. So you not only are allowed to do horrible things, you get a light sentence, as if to say, good job, do it again. We had freedom when we were kids. We had music. We had our friends. We had, whatever sports we did in high school, if we did sports or anything. I did cheerleading and dance team and that kind of thing. We had simple games like jump rope and what is it called? Oh, what is that called? When you write the chalk on the sidewalk and you jump on it? I can't think of what that's called. Um, I don't know what that hopscotch or something? I don't know. I think that's what it's called. We rode our bikes. We went for walks. Life was simpler then, and I don't think it was nearly as dark as it is now. It was simpler times. It was simple fun. You had to be creative to come up with, you know, what you did to entertain yourself because we didn't have our faces glued to our cell phone. We didn't have our faces glued to a computer because we didn't have all that yet the way we do now. It's just, the world was just a much better place. And I was a kid, so I don't recall the political climate back then. I mean, depending on who was in office, I'm sure there were some things people weren't pleased with, but I mean, you're never going to think that the person that you admire is perfect on every level because they're not. You know why? Because people aren't perfect. That's just the way it is. But over the past several years, things have taken such an extremely dark turn. And it gets progressively worse. I'm not going to make this political. However, you guys will know how to read in between the lines. Y'all are smart. Y'all know. One particular party is filled with hate, 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 hate. They love to hate. And it's groupthink, meaning you've got, and there's probably a psychological term for it, where you belong to a certain group and then the ideologies of a lot of the group starts to pour into people that normally wouldn't think that way, and now the entire group thinks that way. I call it groupthink, where you all behave and act the same, even though you know it's wrong. You do it to be accepted. I guess. And one of the things that I found, well, many of the things that they've done are just disgusting on every level. But one of the things that I've found particularly disturbing is when I think there was a little boy he's got a terminal illness and he was made an honorary police officer, I believe. And everybody stood up and clapped except for this particular group of individuals. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, how nasty are you? How disgusting are you? All y'all got kids and you can't even stand up for a kid who's losing his life just because you're so focused on your hate that you can't see past the hatred. And you're so desperate to be accepted by the rest of the group that you feel like you have to perpetrate the hate too in order to be accepted. Wow. Wow. We got to pray for this raggedy ass, dirty ass country. That was I suspected, back to Charlie, I suspected that was a hit. And a couple of things the mortician said, her name is Laura, by the way. I can put her video and her commentary in the uh, description. She said, people are saying that he's not really dead and this and that and the other, and he died instantly. Okay, I'm here to tell you as a mortician. And I'm nodding my head because as I'm listening to her, I'm like, yeah, that's what I suspected. And how do you watch somebody lose their life in front of your face and you're spreading rumors online that he's not really dead? You know, I don't understand that. They did the same shit with Michael Jackson. They did the same shit with Elvis. Is that a form of psychological delusion? Are you trying to avoid the pain of losing this person, so you go into this delusional world where in your mind that didn't take place, even though you know it did? You just start spreading rumors online that the person's hidden away, or we saw him in Europe, or I don't understand why people are so fucking weird. I gotta be honest with you. I don't understand the weirdness. I think he's fortunate to have what happened to him was horrific. But I think that being in God's arms, in the arms of Jesus, is the best place to be because this world is horrible and getting worse. That was a hit. And like Lauren said, she said people are saying, oh, anybody that's a deer hunter could have made that hit. She said there's a big difference. She's so smart. I like her. It's my first time hearing her, or a second time. I think it's the first time. She's the voice of logic and reason, and I really love people like that. She said there's a big difference between hitting a big target like a deer and hitting someone in a precise kill shot. Big difference. And she's absolutely right. That was a professional hit. Disgusting. The individual that they have that is supposedly the suspect, person of interest, whatever the hell they want to call him, I don't know if that's actually the person who did it or if it's a decoy. Because a lot of times, sometimes, the person who actually is guilty gets away with it scot-free, and they'll just choose a random person who has a varied and colorful background and say that that's the person who did it. I maybe he's the actual perpetrator. I don't know. I don't know. And the media lies so often that you can't always believe what the hell they're saying. Okay? Um, God bless his soul. God bless Erica. He has 2 children. I think one is 1 and one is 3. His wife, interestingly, she was a pageant winner. I don't remember what state she was the winner of, but she was a pageant winner. And he talked about how much, her husband loved her and how much she loved him, and good husband, good father. And what a tragedy. But again, he gets to escape this nasty world. Ironically, the way he went out was filthy, because that's what our world is nowadays. And people who do horrific things get away with it, or get a light sentence. I don't know why. Well, I know why, but if your political affiliation stops you from doing your job, you need to be kicked out. Judges all the way across the board have a certain affiliation, and because of it, they're punks when it comes to cracking the law down. They can't do their job. If you cannot do your job, you don't need to be in that position. You don't need to be in that position. Your affiliation has nothing to do with your job. You should put your foot down and address people who do horrific things. But because of who you're affiliated with, you act just like them, and you do as much destruction as you possibly can. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. God bless Charlie's soul. God bless his family. God bless his beautiful wife and kids. And maybe someone will replace him who is just as good. I mean, we got to combat evil with good. It's a damn shame. And this is, what I'm saying about the world being a dark place. It's at the point where when you're too public about reality, you're hitting people with reality, which makes them mad. And the truth, it makes them mad. You got to watch out for your own safety. Anyway, much love to all of you. Give your loved ones hugs and kisses and remind them how much you love them, because you never know when this is it. Love you guys. Take care.